In the heart of Haiti, beneath the shadows of lush green mountains and the whispers of the ocean breeze, a chilling legend thrives, a legend that blurs the line between life and death. It speaks of the zombie, a being not quite alive, yet not completely dead, a creature of darkness that haunts the dreams of those who dare to tread on its cursed soil. The folklore surrounding zombies in Haiti is not merely a tale. It's a haunting reminder of betrayal, power, and the fragility of the human spirit. For centuries, the concept of the zombie has been steeped in mystery, woven intricately into the fabric of Haitian culture. In this land where voodoo is more than a religion, it's a way of life, the zombie represents the ultimate loss of control, an individual trapped in a liminal state, stripped of autonomy, often created through dark magic by a sorcerer known as a bokor. The zombie serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of greed and envy, illustrating how envy can turn allies into enemies and friends into foes. But this story isn't just about the zombie. It's about a man who once stood at the pinnacle of his community. His name was Etienne, a respected leader whose voice resonated with wisdom and strength. Loved by his people, Etienne was known for his unwavering commitment to justice and his fierce protection of those he cared about. Under his leadership, the village thrived, embracing traditions that celebrated life and community. However, behind the facade of admiration, jealousy simmered among those who sought his downfall. Etienne's rise was not without opposition. Among his closest allies lurked a rival named Raoul, a man whose ambition eclipsed any sense of loyalty. Raoul had long coveted Etienne's position, and the more the village flourished under Etienne's guidance, the more Raoul's resentment festered. Whispers of dissent began to circulate, cloaked in the guise of friendship. Raoul saw an opportunity, an insidious plan that would change everything. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of crimson and gold, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. The villagers gathered to celebrate the annual festival, but little did they know that this night would mark the beginning of a harrowing tale. Under the guise of merriment, Raoul set his deadly plan in motion. He lured Etienne into a trap, a calculated act of betrayal that would seal their fates. In the depths of a darkened forest, where the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and rotting leaves, Raoul struck. Etienne fought valiantly, but the betrayal cut deeper than any blade. As darkness enveloped him, his last thoughts were of his people, the laughter, the love, and the unwavering belief they had in him. And then, silence. But death is not always the end in Haiti. The very next day, the village was abuzz with rumors of dark magic and resurrection. Raoul, in a desperate bid to solidify his power, sought out a bokor, an enigma wrapped in shadows, who held the keys to the realm of the undead. The rituals that followed were steeped in ancient traditions, dark chants that echoed through the night as the bokor called forth the spirits, binding Etienne's soul to the earthly realm, resurrecting him as a zombie, a twisted reflection of the man he once was. Etienne returned, but not as the leader his people remembered. He was a hollow shell, driven by a singular desire, revenge. He roamed the shadows, lost in a world of torment and confusion, fueled by anger towards those who had betrayed him. The very essence of who he was had been stripped away, leaving only a vengeful spirit thirsting for justice. As we delve deeper into this tale of betrayal and supernatural vengeance, I invite you to join me on this chilling journey. If you find yourself captivated by the world of legends and the eerie tales that linger in the dark, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps uncover more spine-tingling stories from the shadows, and together we can explore the haunting depths of our shared human experience. In the following segments, we'll follow Etienne's harrowing quest for vengeance, as he confronts the very shadows that betrayed him, and witness the chilling consequences of his resurrection. Stay tuned as we uncover the dark truths hidden within the legend of the Zombi King of Haiti. In the heart of a thriving village nestled between the green peaks of Haiti, Etienne's laughter echoed like a melody of hope. He was more than just a leader. He was a beacon of strength, guiding his people through the storms of life. Festivals were his domain, and his words danced like fireflies in the night, igniting the spirits of those around him. However, beneath the joyous exterior lay a simmering tide of resentment, a betrayal waiting to unfold, meticulously planned by someone he considered a brother. Raoul had always lingered in Etienne's shadow, a serpent coiled and ready to strike. Where Etienne inspired loyalty, Raoul inspired fear. Where Etienne fostered unity, Raoul sowed discord. Although they had once fought side by side, Raoul's ambition transformed their bond into a breeding ground for envy. While the village thrived under Etienne's wise rule, Raoul brooded over his own unfulfilled desires, convinced that power should have been his. As days turned into months, Raoul's resentment festered like an untreated wound, infecting his heart and mind. He observed the admiration with which the villagers spoke of Etienne, their eyes sparkling with gratitude and love, while Raoul felt invisible. The cheers for Etienne's leadership turned into a haunting echo that rang in his ears, a constant reminder of his own inadequacy. It was during one of these festivals that Raoul hatched his wicked plan. Under the guise of camaraderie, Raoul approached Etienne, masking his ambitions with flattering words. "You are the heart of our village, my friend, but a true leader must also prepare for the future," he said, his voice dripping with insincerity. He proposed a journey into the depths of the mountains, claiming that a sacred spirit dwelled there, one that could bless their village with unyielding strength. Etienne, trusting his friend, readily accepted, unaware of the sinister intentions lurking behind Raoul's facade. The evening air was thick with anticipation as the two men trekked through the dense forest, guided only by the soft glow of the moon. The chirping of crickets accompanied their footsteps, creating a haunting symphony that echoed through the trees. But as they ventured deeper into the wilderness, Raoul's demeanor shifted. The tension crackled like static electricity, and the shadows seemed to dance more violently. Upon reaching a secluded clearing, Raoul turned to Etienne, his expression darkening. "You have been a good leader, Etienne, but good leaders must sometimes make sacrifices," he declared, revealing the blade hidden beneath his cloak. The betrayal struck Etienne like a thunderbolt, paralyzing him with shock. How could the man he trusted, the man he had called brother, betray him in such a ruthless manner? Raoul's eyes glinted with malice as he lunged forward, the blade gleaming ominously in the moonlight. Etienne fought back, drawing on every ounce of strength and skill he had honed over the years. But betrayal cuts deeper than any blade, and the pain of Raoul's treachery crippled him in ways he had never anticipated. The struggle was desperate and raw, each man embodying the very essence of life and death. In a final, harrowing moment, Raoul struck. The blade plunged deep into Etienne's side, and as he gasped for breath, time seemed to stand still. The forest held its breath, the night air thick with disbelief. "You were always too trusting, Etienne," Raoul sneered, watching as the light in Etienne's eyes began to dim. "This village needs a leader who understands true power." As Etienne fell to the ground, the world around him faded to black. His last thoughts were filled with the faces of the villagers, their hopes, their dreams, and their unwavering faith in him. Betrayed by the one he had considered a friend, his heart shattered along with the trust he had so freely given. Raoul stood over him, a cruel smile playing on his lips as he reveled in his triumph. He had orchestrated this moment with precision, ensuring that the man who had shone so brightly would be snuffed out forever. But in his thirst for power, he had unleashed forces far beyond his comprehension. As the moon hung high in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the scene of betrayal, the whispers of ancient magic began to weave through the air, signaling the return of the Zombie King, a being reborn from the ashes of trust and betrayal. Stay with me as we unravel the consequences of this treachery, as we journey into the darkness where vengeance waits to be unleashed. If you're intrigued by the twists and turns of this chilling tale, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more spine-tingling stories from the shadows. The legend of Etienne is just beginning, and the chilling echoes of his revenge will soon resonate through the village once more. The night was heavy with the scent of damp earth and incense as the moonlight filtered through the gnarled branches of the ancient trees. In the depths of the forest, where shadows merged with darkness, a bokor, a sorcerer feared and revered in equal measure, prepared to perform a ritual as old as time itself. His name was Madame Georgette, a woman with eyes that shimmered like embers, reflecting the power of the spirit she commanded. She was both a healer and a harbinger of death, standing at the precipice of life and the afterlife, weaving her magic with an artistry that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened souls. Madame Georgette had heard whispers of the betrayal that had befallen Etienne, the once great leader of the village. It was said that his spirit, filled with rage and confusion, lingered in the liminal space between worlds, a soul yearning for revenge against those who had wronged him. Driven by a mixture of ambition and respect for the fallen leader, she resolved to resurrect him, but she knew that doing so would come with dire consequences. As the wind howled through the trees, Madame Georgette gathered her ingredients: powders made from ground bones, herbs harvested under the light of the full moon, and a small vial of sacred water. Each item held immense power, imbued with the energy of the ancestors who had walked this earth long before. The air buzzed with anticipation as she began to chant, her voice rising and falling in a rhythmic dance with the elements around her. The spirits stirred, answering her call, as shadows crept closer, eager to witness the unfolding of ancient magic. In the clearing, Etienne's lifeless body lay cold, a testament to the treachery that had stolen his life. As the ritual intensified, the ground began to tremble, and the very fabric of reality seemed to bend to Madame Georgette's will. She sprinkled the ground with the powdered bones and whispered incantations that resonated with the energy of the cosmos. The air crackled with electric tension, and a luminous fog enveloped the scene, swirling like the chaos of emotions swirling in Etienne's spirit. Suddenly, a flash of light erupted, blinding in its intensity. The world fell silent and time seemed to suspend itself. In that moment, Etienne's spirit, once trapped in darkness, felt the magnetic pull of the ritual. His essence surged back toward his body, a chaotic whirlwind of memories, pain, and fury. With a shudder that echoed through the forest, his heart beat for the first time since betrayal claimed his life. As Etienne opened his eyes, a sense of dread washed over him. The world appeared different, hazy and distorted as if viewed through a thick fog. The weight of his body felt strange, foreign. He was no longer the man who had once led with compassion. He was something else, something darker. Etienne stood, taking in the surroundings, and felt the surge of raw power coursing through him, a power that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Yet as the initial shock wore off, he realized the profound changes within. His senses were heightened, each sound amplified, each scent intensified. The night was alive with whispers, the cries of the betrayed, the laughter of the living, and the murmur of the spirits that now accompanied him. But alongside this newfound power came an overwhelming sense of hunger for vengeance, a primal urge that gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. The psychological transformation was even more profound. Memories of betrayal haunted him like phantoms, driving him toward the one thing he craved most: revenge. He was no longer the compassionate leader. He was a vessel for rage, a puppet bound to the strings of darker desires. The joyous laughter of the village echoed in his mind, now twisted into cruel mockery, as he envisioned the faces of those who had wronged him. With each step, the ground seemed to tremble beneath his feet as if recognizing the return of the Zombie King. He was no longer bound by the rules of the living. He was an enigma, a ghost seeking justice in a world where shadows and light intertwine. His heart, once filled with love for his people, now pulsed with a singular purpose: to confront the betrayal head-on. As he ventured forth, the wind carried his name, whispering through the trees and reaching the ears of those who had wronged him. The village lay ahead, oblivious to the storm that was about to engulf them. The Zombie King had returned, and the time for vengeance had come. Join me as we delve deeper into the chilling consequences of Etienne's resurrection, a tale where darkness reigns, and the boundaries between life and death blur. If you're captivated by this haunting saga, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, where we unravel the mysteries that lurk in the shadows. The legend of the Zombie King is far from over, and the reckoning is just beginning. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the village that once felt like home to Etienne. As he stepped out of the forest and into the familiar streets, an unsettling mix of confusion and fury gripped his heart. The night was alive with the sounds of laughter, music, and the vibrant pulse of life that thrummed through the air. But for Etienne, each sound felt like a dagger, stabbing into the remnants of his shattered humanity. He gazed at the flickering lanterns that lined the path, their warm glow illuminating the faces of the villagers, oblivious to the darkness that had returned among them. The scent of fried plantains and spices wafted through the air, a tantalizing reminder of the life he had once cherished. Yet now it all felt like a cruel mockery, a feast to celebrate the living while he existed in this tortured state, a being caught between life and death. As he wandered through the village, memories surged like a tidal wave, pulling him under with relentless force. Flashes of laughter echoed in his mind, the joyous faces of children dancing around him, their innocent giggles intertwining with the deep baritone of his own laughter. He remembered the warmth of the sun on his skin, the hugs from grateful villagers, and the unwavering trust they had placed in him as their leader. But those memories were tainted now, overshadowed by the horrific betrayal that had snatched it all away. Raoul's treachery haunted him like a specter, the knife plunging into his side, replaying in a nightmarish loop. "You were always too trusting, Etienne." The words dripped with malice, echoing in the hollow chambers of his mind. Each repetition fueled his anger, stoking the flames of vengeance that burned brightly within him. It was no longer just about revenge, it was about reclaiming his dignity, restoring his honor that had been so brutally stripped away. He felt the surge of rage course through his veins, a wild, untamed force that thrummed with every heartbeat. Memories of the festival flooded his thoughts, images of Raoul's smiling face, the betrayal masked by false camaraderie. The laughter, the joy, the love. They were all intertwined with the dagger of betrayal that had pierced his heart. Etienne was no longer just a man seeking revenge. He was a force of nature, an avenging spirit determined to confront those who had taken everything from him. As he moved closer to the heart of the village, the cacophony of joy only fueled his growing anger. The villagers danced around a bonfire, their faces alight with merriment, their spirits unbroken. Did they not know? Did they not feel the darkness that loomed just beyond their celebration? Rage twisted in Etienne's chest as he watched them, laughter echoing like a haunting reminder of his own lost life. With each step, the shadows deepened around him, mirroring the darkness within. He could feel the whispers of the spirits brushing against him, urging him forward, urging him to exact his revenge. Their voices, ghostly and alluring, promised power, vengeance, and retribution. The thought of confronting Raoul sent shivers of anticipation coursing through him. The very man who had orchestrated his demise was now the target of his wrath. Etienne's senses, heightened in this new existence, allowed him to feel the pulse of the village, the heartbeat of every soul within it. He could smell their fear, their obliviousness, and it filled him with an intoxicating blend of anger and purpose. The Zombie King had awakened, and he would not rest until he had reclaimed what was rightfully his. The night held the promise of chaos, a chance to turn the laughter of the villagers into screams of terror, a chance to remind them of the darkness they had invited into their lives. As he stood at the edge of the bonfire's glow, the firelight flickering against his skin, he could almost taste the sweet satisfaction of vengeance. The laughter that once brought him joy now fueled his desire to wreak havoc. He was not merely a man resurrected, he was a storm waiting to break, a force of nature unleashed to claim what was lost. Join me as we delve deeper into the awakening of the Zombie King, a tale where betrayal meets vengeance, and the lines between the living and the dead blur. If you're captivated by this story of dark retribution, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more chilling tales from the shadows. The journey of Etienne has only just begun, and the villagers are about to learn that their joyous night has awakened something far more terrifying than they could ever imagine. The moon loomed high, a spectral orb casting an otherworldly glow over the village of Etienne. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness as he began his journey, each step echoing with the weight of his newfound purpose. The shadows wrapped around him like a shroud, and the whispers of the spirits guided his path, urging him onward as he hunted for those who had betrayed him. First on his list was Raoul, the architect of his demise, a man who had once called himself a friend. As Etienne moved through the familiar streets, he felt a strange power pulse within him. It was as if the very ground recognized him, and he could sense the energy of the living flowing through the veins of the earth. Each heartbeat resonated with his own, amplifying his desire for retribution. But the world felt different now. He was no longer simply a man. He was a creature of the night, an avenger wrapped in darkness. The villagers were blissfully unaware of the storm that loomed just beyond their merriment. As he approached Raoul's dwelling, a cold shiver coursed through him, not from fear, but from a primal instinct to reclaim his life. Raoul's house was modest, nestled on the outskirts of the village, but Etienne felt an inexplicable pull as he approached. The walls, once a symbol of brotherhood, now felt like a fortress guarding the heart of betrayal. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision, flickering like dying embers, as if the spirits of the damned were warning him of what lay ahead. He pressed forward, his resolve hardening. As he crept closer, the sounds of laughter and music faded into the background, replaced by an eerie silence that seemed to envelop him. It was in this stillness that the supernatural began to reveal itself. The air crackled with energy, and Etienne could see the faint outlines of ghosts, their translucent forms flitting through the darkness like wisps of smoke. They were the spirits of those who had fallen victim to betrayal, their faces twisted in eternal anguish. With each step, memories of his own death flooded back, fueling his anger. He could feel the presence of the spirits guiding him, pushing him toward the door that separated him from his prey. The night was alive with tension, a heartbeat pulsing in sync with his own. Just as he reached for the handle, the door swung open, revealing Raoul standing there, a mix of confusion and disbelief on his face. Etienne? Raoul's voice trembled, disbelief mingling with fear. The warmth of friendship that had once existed between them now felt like a distant memory. You're dead. The word sent a shockwave through Etienne, igniting a firestorm of anger. Dead? I am reborn, he roared, his voice echoing with an otherworldly resonance that seemed to shake the very foundations of the house. The shadows flickered and danced as he stepped forward, each movement imbued with an energy that made Raoul stumble back in fear. Suddenly, the room filled with an unnatural chill. The candles flickered violently, and the walls seemed to whisper his name. Etienne, Etienne. The voices of the spirits echoed, a haunting chorus that surrounded them both. Raoul's face blanched and panic surged through him as he tried to comprehend the horror unfolding before his eyes. In that moment, Etienne felt a surge of power coursing through him, a primal force that pushed him closer to his enemy. The air thickened with tension and shadows spiraled around him like a storm, drawing on the essence of the world that had been stolen from him. You thought you could escape your fate? He hissed, his voice low and menacing, echoing with the weight of the grave. With a swift motion, Raoul grabbed a nearby chair, brandishing it like a weapon. Stay back, he shouted, his bravado faltering under the gaze of the Zombie King. But Etienne could feel the power surging within him, a connection to the spirits that fueled his rage. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the darkness, causing the shadows to writhe and coalesce into a spectral form behind him, a haunting manifestation of his vengeance. The walls of the room began to tremble as the spirit took shape, its eyes glowing with an unearthly light. Raoul's bravado melted away, replaced by sheer terror as he realized the true extent of the darkness he had unleashed. Etienne, please, "We can talk about this," he stammered, but it was too late. The shadows whispered promises of retribution, swirling around Etienne like a tempest, urging him to strike. But Etienne paused, his heart heavy with conflicting emotions. He wanted to reclaim his honor, to confront Raoul and make him pay for his betrayal. But he also felt the weight of the spirits urging him toward justice. In that moment of hesitation, he realized that vengeance wasn't just about punishment. It was about reclaiming his identity, his place in the world he had once cherished. With a roar that echoed through the night, Etienne unleashed his power, enveloping Raoul in a darkness that twisted and turned like a living thing. Shadows danced wildly, and the very air shimmered with the essence of retribution. This was only the beginning of his quest for vengeance, and the village would soon learn that the Zombie King had awakened. Stay with me as we delve deeper into Etienne's journey for justice, a tale where darkness reigns and the quest for revenge spirals into chaos. If you're captivated by this haunting saga, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more chilling stories from the shadows. The night is far from over, and the true horrors of Etienne's awakening are just beginning to unfold. As the moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie pallor over the village, Etienne felt the palpable tension in the air. His heart thrummed with anticipation as he prepared to confront the betrayers who had robbed him of his life, his dignity, and his legacy. The chill of the night seemed to whisper promises of vengeance, and the shadows danced around him, eager to partake in the coming chaos. The first stop on his grim journey was the village tavern, a place where laughter and camaraderie often drowned out the bitter whispers of betrayal. He knew that many of the villagers gathered here, drawn by the promise of drink and merriment. But tonight, their revelry would turn to dread. As he approached the tavern, the sounds of revelry grew louder, filling the air with an intoxicating mixture of joy and oblivion. But for Etienne, the joy was tainted by the memories of laughter that had turned to screams. With a single push, the door swung open, creaking like the moans of the forgotten. The lively chatter faltered as heads turned toward him, faces registering shock, disbelief, and slowly, an undercurrent of fear. The room seemed to dim as Etienne stepped forward, shadows swirling at his feet. The flickering candles cast grotesque silhouettes on the walls, and for a brief moment, he felt the weight of the spirits behind him, urging him on. "Who dares disturb our celebration?" shouted one of the patrons, a heavy-set man with a thick beard. It was Gerard, another of the conspirators who had plotted against him. The room erupted in laughter, but it quickly faded as Etienne's gaze locked onto Gerard, the jovial expression on his face replaced by trepidation. "Etienne?" he stammered, disbelief flooding his features. "I have returned to reclaim what you took from me," Etienne declared, his voice a deep growl that reverberated through the tavern. The shadows danced around him, pulsating with energy as the laughter turned to whispers of fear. The room became charged with tension, each breath held as the realization of his return set in. Etienne reached out with his hand, and the air around him thickened, swirling with dark energy. The candles flickered wildly, and a sudden gust of wind swept through the tavern, extinguishing the lights and plunging the room into darkness. Gasps echoed as panic spread like wildfire. Gerard's bravado shattered, replaced by primal fear as he stumbled back, knocking over chairs and tables in his desperate attempt to escape. "I should have never doubted you, my friend," Gerard pleaded, but Etienne's heart was deaf to such cries. He could feel the shadows coiling around him, urging him forward. "You betrayed me!" he roared, and with a flick of his wrist, the shadows leaped forward, engulfing Gerard. The man's screams filled the tavern, a sound so chilling it sent shivers down the spines of the onlookers. Just as quickly as it began, the darkness receded, leaving Gerard trembling on the ground, his spirit shattered. "Please, Etienne, it was Raoul's idea," he cried, desperation etched across his face. But it was too late for mercy. Etienne stepped over him, his gaze set on the next betrayer, a familiar face lost in the crowd, Claudine, the woman who had once shared his dreams and aspirations. As Etienne advanced, Claudine's eyes widened in horror, recognition dawning like a dark cloud settling over her. "Etienne." "No," she gasped, shaking her head in disbelief. The tavern trembled under the weight of her guilt. "You can't be here. You're dead." "Dead, yes, but reborn to seek vengeance," he replied, his voice a low rumble that resonated with the shadows swirling around him. "You thought I wouldn't remember? You played your part in my demise." With each step, the atmosphere grew heavier, and a palpable darkness surrounded him, merging with the fears and regrets of those present. He raised his hand, and the shadows rippled outward like a dark wave, crashing into Claudine, who was suddenly surrounded by ghostly figures, spirits of those who had suffered because of her betrayal. They whispered her sins, their voices a haunting chorus of anguish. "Please, Etienne, I didn't want this. It was all Raoul," Claudine begged, her voice barely a whisper above the cacophony of whispers that filled the room. But the darkness was unrelenting, swallowing her cries and replacing them with a chilling silence. Etienne turned away, knowing that he couldn't linger. He had a destiny to fulfill, a quest that would not end until each betrayer had tasted the consequences of their actions. As he exited the tavern, the villagers murmured in fear, their eyes wide with terror. He could feel their dread, a delicious emotion that fueled his growing power. With each confrontation, the Zombie King was becoming a force to be reckoned with. His abilities were undeniable, and the air crackled with energy as he moved through the village, a harbinger of chaos. As Etienne made his way to the next location, the whispers of the spirits guided him, their voices an echo of his past. "The time for reckoning is at hand," they urged, and he felt the thrill of anticipation wash over him. The night was far from over, and the path of vengeance would not rest until every betrayer had faced their reckoning. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into Etienne's quest for revenge, where each confrontation reveals the depths of his power and the chilling consequences of betrayal. If you're captivated by this unfolding tale of darkness, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more spine-chilling stories that dwell in the shadows. The Zombie King's revenge has only just begun, and the final act will leave you breathless. As dawn broke over the village of Etienne, the golden rays of sunlight pierced through the lingering darkness, illuminating the remnants of the night's terror. The air, once thick with the stench of fear and betrayal, began to clear, but the memories of the past would not easily fade. Etienne stood on the outskirts of the village overlooking the devastation that had unfolded, a chilling reflection of the choices he had made in his quest for vengeance. He had confronted each betrayer with unrelenting fury, leaving a path of anguish and despair in his wake. Gerard's terrified screams echoed in his mind, a haunting reminder of the consequences of his return from the grave. Claudine's eyes, filled with regret and terror, haunted him, and each confrontation had further solidified his transformation from a respected leader to the Zombie King, a figure of nightmares rather than hope. Etienne turned away from the village, the dawn casting long shadows behind him. As he walked, the chilling reality of what he had become settled heavily on his shoulders. He had sought revenge, believing it would restore his honor and give meaning to his suffering. But the blood of the guilty lay on his hands, and their cries still echoed in his ears. Each life he had taken had not only deepened his connection to the shadows, but also chipped away at the humanity he once cherished. In his quest for retribution, he had become a vessel for darkness, a pawn in a game that transcended the mortal realm. The spirits that had once guided him now swirled around him, their whispers laced with sorrow. They reminded him of the lives lost not just to betrayal, but also to his own insatiable desire for vengeance. Etienne realized that in his pursuit of justice, he had become the very monster he sought to destroy, a tragic irony that gnawed at his soul. But was vengeance truly worth the cost? As he pondered this question, Etienne felt the weight of his actions pressing down on him. The thrill of retribution had been intoxicating, a high that masked the deeper wounds of betrayal and loss. Yet with each act of violence he had forged a deeper bond with the darkness, blurring the line between justice and cruelty. What had begun as a quest to reclaim his life had devolved into a cycle of suffering, leaving him questioning the very nature of existence. As the sun rose higher, casting light on the aftermath of the night, he found himself grappling with an existential dilemma. The villagers would remember him as a monster, a vengeful spirit who had come back to wreak havoc. But the truth was more complex. He was a man betrayed, driven to extremes by the pain of loss. The line between life and death, revenge and justice, had become increasingly blurred. In the stillness of the dawn, Etienne stood at the crossroads of his existence. He was caught between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, a liminal space where the consequences of his actions would ripple through time. The spirits whispered warnings, urging him to reflect on his choices, to seek redemption rather than revenge. But could he ever return to the man he once was? Was redemption even a possibility for someone like him, who had embraced the darkness so fully? The open question lingered in the air like the morning mist. Where does the line between life and death truly lie? How far could one go in pursuit of vengeance before losing sight of their own humanity? These questions hung in the balance, their answers elusive, leaving Etienne with an ache in his heart. As he turned back toward the village, the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the path ahead. There was a choice to be made, whether to remain in the shadows or seek a way to restore what had been lost. Would he continue down the path of vengeance, or would he seek forgiveness, even in a world where betrayal had left its mark? The Zombie King paused, contemplating the weight of his decisions. The journey of a man who had risen from the grave had transformed into a profound exploration of the human experience, a haunting reflection on the consequences of betrayal, the allure of vengeance, and the fragile line separating life from death. Stay with me as we delve deeper into these questions, exploring the themes of vengeance, redemption, and the lingering effects of betrayal in our lives. If you found yourself captivated by this tale of darkness and reflection, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more haunting stories that challenge our understanding of life and the choices we make. The echoes of the past may fade, but the questions they raise remain ever relevant, leaving us to ponder our own paths through the shadows. As the sun continued to rise over the village, casting a warm glow on the remnants of a night filled with terror, Etienne stood at the crossroads of his existence. He had confronted the darkness, faced the consequences of betrayal, and now pondered the choice between vengeance and redemption. In this journey of pain and reflection, we are reminded that the echoes of our past can shape our future in unimaginable ways. As we delve into the complexities of betrayal and revenge, we are left to question, can one truly find peace after walking the path of darkness? If this story resonated with you and sparked your thoughts on the fine line between life and death, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me continue sharing these haunting tales that explore the shadows of our humanity. Join me on this journey, and together, let's uncover more chilling stories that linger in the dark corners of our world. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of life.